Time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace, Bobby Ryan, and Jason York.
Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to Coming In Hot. Brent Wallace alongside Jason York and Bobby Ryan. Gentlemen, Happy New Year to you. Bob, I just need a medical update. Can you see?
I can see. I still don't look great, but I was, man, it was brutal. And it wasn't like gross. Like it hurt so effing bad for 2 days. And just walking around with eye drops and this and that.
What happened?
Horrible. I had to go to dinner at my soon-to-be in-laws, and I was like, my eyes popping. Like, it was tough. It was tough.
You get pink eye? Did you get pink eye?
Wasn't pink eye. No, it's just we think that something got caught up there. I never even ended up going to urgent care. I just started taking antibiotics. I hope they worked, and I'm getting better. But it was a hell of a week.
Well, is that you on the guitar coming in there with our little intro?
No.
Nice work. Nice work.
No, there's a new opening coming. We just have this as a temporary.
No. I scored a few goals in my day, but you chose an empty netter. Thank you. Appreciate that, pal.
So I had nothing to do with it. I will readily admit, zero.
Okay.
And Yorkie, you played hockey today. Are you okay? Are you feeling good? Did you have like your insure afterwards?
I'm exhausted. I was so lazy out there. It's my goal in my Tuesday league hockey is to burn 600 calories. That's my goal. I don't care about anything else. Get my 600. Fell short today. I was so lazy. Just way too many chocolates. Just hammering like everybody gives you in Canada, Bob. Everybody gives you like boxes of turtles. Mm-hmm. And those, what are those? The Ferrari, what do they call them? Ferrari
Rochers.
Ferrari roll. I've just been pounding those. So anyways, I gotta cut it out. But like
Does Canada have the same problem? We went to the gym that we go to religiously here in Franklin, and January 1st, it never fails. I had to park so far away. It was so obnoxious, the amount of people that were in there that you could tell signed up on the 30th because they're like, this is the year. Absolute zoo. I see Gavin down there saying the same thing. And you're like, I love when people try to better themselves in any capacity, but I was like, in 3 weeks, you're going to be at the taco stand. So let's
I walked right by my treadmill and my bike today. Had no issues. Nobody was there.
Oh, really?
It's in the basement.
Okay, fair enough.
That's a mistake. You can't put that stuff in the basement because you got to keep it on a main level or in your bedroom. Then you'll use it.
Well,
yeah,
I agree. I'd have to move out of my bedroom. I'd have no room.
Well, before we start, Wally, you can relate to this because it happened to me today. I had an appointment downtown and then was driving home and I said, I'm going to Costco. I'm going to go out of my way to Costco. It's a place I avoid. It was so busy. I drove through the parking lot and went home. I just kept driving.
I do. Yeah. I don't like Costco. If I'm in for one thing and I'm out, like if the wife gives me the list, I don't deviate from the list. I get it and get out.
Yeah. I'm not a fan, but I thought I was going to put up on waters and meat and whatever. And I just kept driving.
You can't be passive in there. You got to be aggressive with the cart. Like if you be passive, they'll eat you up. You can't. You just got to go and just get in there.
Don't wait for the free samples. Just get going.
Just assert the dominance right out of the gate.
All right, gentlemen, we've got some things to talk about. The Sens back in action. They start their 5-game, 11-day road trip tonight in Vancouver. That might be a tough one. We'll get to that later. Steve Staios is now the GM. We take a couple of days off, and you got Steve Staios as the GM, Dave Poulin's in with the organization. Ryan Bonus gets a bump, and then Erik Brannstrom's a forward. So I want to start. This is where we're going for Erik Brannstrom as a forward. So I don't even this reminds me of old Jacques. Jason, you can relate to this. Where Chris Phillips started his career at forward. And then Christoph Schubert went and played at forward, well, a long time, more than he played D, not happily. What do you make of Erik Brannstrom, gentlemen, playing on the fourth line wing?
Well, this is why Jacques does it, because when you put a D on forward, he's generally going to be back and be on the right side of the puck, and he's usually going to come back and support the D because he's thinking the defenseman all the time. That's how he thinks. I did it for a while, and you can it's a lot easier to trust a D when he goes up there to do it than a guy that's just come up from the minors. And I really like Cruikshank, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I did the move. Cruikshank the game before really struggled in the neutral zone. He got beat a few times in the neutral zone. It happens. He's young. He's not young, but he's young as far as NHL experience goes. So, and you don't want to take Branstrom. You don't want to healthy scratch a guy that's been playing pretty well. He didn't have a great game the game before. So, hey, if you're Branstrom, I know he looks pissed off and everything, but hey, at least you're still in the lineup. Like,
yeah,
that's how you got to look at it. But it's nothing new, and it's just because Jacques can trust him in that role, and it worked out. It worked out great. He played really well. He's in the lineup, and Philly, when Chris Phillips did it, same reason. You don't want to have your first round draft pick, which Philly was overall, sitting in the stands. So you put him up on forward. It's not a bad thing, and I could see why Brandstrom's pissed off though. But what do you think, Bob?
I agree with a lot of what you said. I just think that, we'll talk about the way he came across in the interview for sure, but I just don't those things always have a way of working themselves out for 2 games, and then it becomes very, very annoying for both the player and for him. I guess it's one way to look at it. Like, you're in the lineup, but if you want to stay in the league, and this is where Brandstrom's at in his career, wanting to stay in the league, he's not showcasing what he needs to be in his mind, right? Like, I'm doing what's best for the team, and there is a certain level of that comes with it. But at the end of the day, he doesn't seem, I don't think he's happy. I don't think he's gonna get no sympathy from anybody. None.
The worst thing you could be is all poopy pants after the game, after you've won a game, and be sulking in an interview. And he was sulking. I'll tell you why. Like, just let me finish the thought here. Steve Staios played forward and D for a long time in the NHL. Like, you're not going to get any sympathy from him. Like, that guy grinded out 1,000 games, and he was never a great player, but he was a team first guy. So I would be very careful if I was Erik Brannstrom and how I portray myself in interviews, because you're on a 1-year deal and you do what's best for the team. I know it's not ideal and it does suck, but what else? You got no choice. Like, what else? You might as well go out there and do the best you can. And good game.
Well, I thought he played really well, but interesting, like, for a guy that's listened to as many post-game interviews, which are usually they won 5-1, which is usually just hey, we played good. It's nice to be in the lineup, help to contribute. He got an assist, whatever. He was he was sour. He was not happy whatsoever playing forward. Now, I get it, because that's not his position. But do you want to ruffle the feathers when it appears right now that you aren't in the top 6 on the blue line?
Hey, listen, nobody gives a fuck about feelings right now of where the Senators are. This team is lost. People, like, they need to win. And Jacques coaching now. Alfie, do you think Alfie cares?
No, I'm not talking about that side. I'm talking about the player. Like, Branstrom should have probably just said, hey, we got the win. Yeah. It was nice to contribute. He was like, well, we had a long talk about it.
I know.
I want to play D. Like, it just.
But it's the hurt. It's the hurt feelings league now, and guys get upset. But at the end of the day, too, I will say this: after a game, when you do get a mic thrown in front of you and you've just finished, you sometimes don't get to really think about things and what you should say and shouldn't say, right?
Not anymore. That you guys, when we go in the locker room, there's been 5 to 10 minutes, if not 15, before a player talks. Sometimes they go back, they have a meal, and then they come back out and talk.
Wally, I'm going to tell you something.
There's plenty of time for him to calm down.
I'm going to tell you something. When you're not happy, you usually carry that for a day or two. I don't know about you, Bob, but when you're not happy and something's on your mind, like, you're going to be bitter for a little while until you have another game. And that's how I was. I don't know how Branstrom is, but
it's different in the NHL. You're supposed to be quiet and not rock the boat.
Well,
you and I, if I'm cranky with you, I'll tell you right away. You'll know, but not in the locker room. You're supposed to just, especially after a win, the team's not playing great or whatever.
Yeah, everybody's buddy the elf. But
yes,
I will say, I will agree with Yorkie, but I'm also going to agree with. I agree with both of you in a sense. I would carry it for sure. You carry it. even though I thought he played well, and I think he came away with an assist on the was it the McEwen goal or the Castle, one of the, whatever it was, Castle goal. He came away with an assist. He contributed.
Yep.
But he was still salty from the conversation that morning, and you could tell.
Yeah.
And
he's salty.
And I feel like he kind of like towed the line, like got his point across, but at the same time, it's like, well, we won, and I got to play, and it's like just go one way or the other. Either be Buddy the Elf or blow it up so that we have something great to talk about.
I think you have to understand where you are as a player and where you fit into the grand scheme of things. Like if that's me, because I remember when I got put up on forward when I was a young guy, and because let's be honest here, Branstrom has not established himself in the league yet as really a full-time dependable NHL defenseman. He's shown glimpses. He's been good here and there, but they're a last place team. He's a victim of circumstance, right? So he doesn't really put up points because the role he's in, and it just is what it is. So you got to know where you are as a player, and it is what it is. I've said it from day one. He's miscast on this Senators team, and the frustration is probably, man, am I ever going to get a chance to showcase what I can do? I'm an offensive player. Yep. I'm not on the power play, and now I'm playing forward. Like, my God, damn it! You can just see.
It is interesting though, but it seems like Jacques, he's not all that keen to move him off forward. It seems like it seems, listening to Jacques post game, I wouldn't be shocked to see Erik Brannstrom there a few games.
Oh, he's back there 100% because they won 5-1, and they don't care that it was Buffalo, who is horrendous. Like,
how bad are they?
It was.
Well, they put up 46 shots, guys.
I know. There was one shift, I think. I don't know. I would like to actually know how many shots on goal Jeff Skinner had at the end of the night, because he had a one shift. I think it was in the second, I can't remember. He got the puck 5 times to fire, and I'm like, is anybody going to stand next to him in the slot? Because then he moved 5 feet and was wide open again. They put up a lot of shots. Forsberg was still. What do you have?
He had 3 shots, 4 blocked, 2 missed.
So I only knew that 2 on that shift had gotten through, and then he hit somebody in the legs a couple times. But I just remember that shift sticking out to me while we were watching it here. Forsberg was good. I didn't feel like they put up a ton. They just kind of got to the blue line and put the puck on the net, yes. And it was easy for him to deflect things into the corner all night. So it wasn't really a 46 shot effort or whatever.
A lot of one and out, a lot of one and outs.
Yeah,
and like the Sens actually, they made some. I didn't really love Stutzlo's game. He turned the puck over a few times in the neutral zone, but then Buffalo would get one opportunity, but they'd never get a second opportunity. How about that one play? This kind of shows me where Buffalo's at right now as a team. After the whistle, when Brady Tkachuk came in there, they got a couple shots in at the goalie. Did you see the Sabres looking for quarters after that? Like nobody wanted to go near Tkachuk. Like what's his dad, Dman, all those guys. It's just like, is anybody gonna stand up to him?
That's it. I was watching Posto kind of getting in there, and I was like, he can't fight it. He's had some head injuries in the past. I'm like, he's not going to fight. He can't do anything. But yeah, Brady just did whatever he wanted in the third period there.
He's like, you guys, I'm just going to do whatever I want, and you guys are going to like it. I'm going to steal your lunch money. I'm going to give you a little noogie.
But did you guys like Brady's game?
I didn't think he was very good.
I didn't think he was very good.
I think he was visibly frustrated. That's why some of those things carried into longer scrums. I thought he looked visibly frustrated for the first time in a while. He actually, with himself, not with the team or where they're at. Yeah. We've seen that, but I thought he looked frustrated with himself in that game, and just not his normal self. But I have the way he plays, he's going to be fine. He'll be right back to it. But it takes some time. You're switching coaches. You're switching things around. Not every coach is as conducive as to his style as the last one. His style kind of fits anywhere, but it's just going to take a second to find the fitting.
Yeah,
he's got 16 goals. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah. He's got 147 shots. Like, I'm fine with Brady. Yeah. I just thought he wasn't very good with Tim Stützle in that game for whatever reason.
Well, we talked about this before we came on. The three standouts under DJ Smith, I'd say the guys that you played to the utmost of their potential. For Jake Sanderson, Brady Tkachuk, and Tim Stützle. And I think it's safe to say that all three players, since the coaching changes, have had a little bit of downward regression in their game, and probably for a variety of different reasons. There is a human element. Like that coach loved you as a player. DJ loved all three of those players. He's gone. So there's a little bit of an emotional letdown there where you feel bad about it. And now you're getting used to a different system where cheating's not going to be tolerated. And you're just playing a different way now. And there's an adjustment there and a totally different personality too, Bob. Like Jacques is a totally different personality than DJ. So that's like, it's a big adjustment. I do think all three players will be fine. I think that has something to do with it. It's just, when you have a big change like that, it affects you. And look at Drake Batherson. Like, look how it's affected him. But he was the guy that would always get pushed down when things went poorly under the previous regime. So now he sees, okay, here we go. Now I've got a chance. Now I've got a chance to up my status in this organization, and he's taken advantage of it. But that's what happens when different coaches like different things, different systems. But this is what happens.
Yeah, I think it's a chance for Drake to say, I'm not the complimentary player. Like, let me try to drive a line. I don't want to be the guy that's bumped to the third because things aren't going well. And I think he's he's played well, but he's put himself into one of the more, again, we always push Drake, and he's always the one that gets the condescension, I guess, from fans and players and media, but he's still the second most talented offensive player this team has. So I'm glad he's taken off because it's nice for him he had a vacation. He took his Christmas vacation and enjoyed himself, the one that we gave him.
Yeah. The one last thing I'll say just on Stützle, I think people have to remember too. I always put guys in birth years. The guy's at 2002. I think he's turning 20. He's turning 22 this year. So like, he's learning on the job, and now he's going to learn a different style now. Like, I think the offense came, they had the 90 plus points last year. Now he's going to learn some new things, and there's going to be an adjustment period, a big adjustment period.
Yeah. I also want to point out, I still think Tim Stützle's left hand is bothering him. And again,
sums up
in the last game, in the first period, he falls on it and he gets up shaking it again and goes to the bench shaking it. I just think there's something wrong with his wrist. So just keep an eye on it.
He hasn't looked comfortable.
No. And I just like to point out, he's also the team's leading scorer.
It's on pace for over 100.
Seems weird to be like, I think he's hurt. He's got 100 points. I know. Now, I want to get to our hot performer because I think it was very interesting. And by the way, it's always as delivered to you by DoorDash. Don't stress about getting up off the couch and going to get something to eat or finding the perfect gift or doing whatever it is you want to do. Even at the last minute, finding the perfect gift, never been easier. Just open the DoorDash app, choose what you want from where you want. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code NATION25, all uppercase letters. That's NATION25, up to a $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code NATION25. Offer valid in Canada, subject to change. Terms apply. Gentlemen, the hot performers that Sens fourth line, which included Erik Brannstrom, they were by far the best line on the ice, I thought. They were outstanding on Sunday against the Buffalo Sabres. They had 9 shots, 3 points, 2 goals, +6.
I like this. I hope that they wrote them up first on the board when they put the lines up for practice the next day. That was always something that one of my coaches did to kind of reward them and make light of it. It's nice that we're talking about them because so often we've talked about the bottom 6 not being deep enough or anything, but they showed up. That McEwen shot was unbelievable. That the slap shot coming down the wall, unbelievable.
Just barred down.
And just for his first as a Sen too, I think, right? Did I hear that when they were talking about him? They were great. They tilted the ice all night. They didn't get away from their game when they had a little success. They continued to grind, and I liked the look. It was a great look. They looked really good.
Yeah.
And Brandy, I didn't realize Brandy got 15 minutes too. That's nice.
But Brandy also killed penalties as a defenseman.
Yeah. A couple extras there.
They just looked really, and I know Branstrom isn't happy, but he did look. I thought he looked good. Like I don't have any complaints with the way they played that game.
The problem is,
and they started this. I think they started the second or third period after they scored. Must have been the second. They scored and they started the third period. Like that's Jacques rewarding them for the way they're playing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to add the other reason with Branstrom, he doesn't have a future in the league long term as a left winger, so that's going through his head too. He's like, well, you never know. Okay, listen, the guy was one of the top prospects outside the NHL coming into the league as a defenseman. So he's probably like, what the hell's going on here? It's on a 1-year deal. Now I'm on left wing.
Yes. However, what if he scores 2 tonight? And then what if he suddenly has 5 points in 5 games? Maybe he's a winger. I'm just trying something.
Well, then we're going to talk about him still not fitting in the top 6.
How many times did he have to pick a puck off the wall against Buffalo? Like there's a lot of broken plays in the neutral zone where you're able to kind of get the puck in open space, or some bouncy pucks in the. Let's just say it was a nice game. The puck was bouncing the right way for the Senators in that game, and he can skate. He can skate, and he can make plays, and he can do things. But we'll see. It's for right now. You know what? For right now, it's working. The Senators won. They got Vancouver, and I would say it's game by game. See how he does tonight. And then they'll evaluate it from there and make adjustments moving forward.
That's what I want to see tonight, is when Vancouver has all 5 guys activated below the blue line. Quinn Hughes is behind the net with his partner on the half wall, 5-on-5, sorting out coverage. It's so hard to understand as a D, and this is where I'm going to chirp Yorkie. As a D, your coverage is I'm either in the corner or I'm at the net. And now the game's changed a little bit where you follow up, but you usually release by the top of the circle and whatever. As a defenseman coming out to play the wing, and 4 guys are in your zone for half a second, and then they're all gone and they're all spreading. You're just standing there going like this, and you're praying for somebody to come back into the box that is your priority. It's hard. So when guys get moving tonight, it's going to be very interesting to see how he settles.
Bob, I played forward for 6 weeks in the minors, and I played about a week and a half when I was with Detroit. This is what things looked like. You know, when you have the horse blinders on like this, you're just seeing like this. Yeah, you can't see anything. It's like when you're a defenseman, you can see the whole ice. Then when you're put on the wing and you're looking back, I'm telling you something you already know, but I'm just trying to put this in perspective to people who are listening, they're reviewing. You got to make so many split-second decisions on the wall. Take the puck cleanly. Guys coming to nail you, he's pinching down on you, and make a clean breakout play. That's one of the hardest things for me when I played wing, and that's. Like a guy like you that was a winger, you've done that a million times. Right. Now all of a sudden you're a defenseman. It's a really tough thing to do. That's why it's impressive what he was able to do, but it's just those are tough things to pick up. And at best, if you're a defenseman that's moving to forward like this, the best you're ever going to be is a 4th liner. And like you're never going to be any better than that, because it's just you're so far behind everybody else.
Agreed.
Well, one last point in the game we can move on is Yorkie. I know you've been talking a lot about shift lengths and ice time, and how Jacques would probably maybe even it out, and maybe the score of the Buffalo game was a little more allowed them to make it easier, if you will. But if you look at the ice times in that Buffalo game, like they're fairly even for the most part. And you'll see, obviously, the big guys get some more minutes. But look at no D played more than 22 minutes. And in fact, nice. Thomas Chabot's 21 minutes, which, by the way, he returned, if you didn't know, in that game. That's the lowest and fewest minutes he's played this year. And I think he did it 8 times last year. He played less than 22 minutes. So you can see them, the Jacques or Alfie and Jack or Ben Sexton are trying to keep guys moving and not out for a long time.
There's a ton of games coming up, as we all know, guys. And Chabot just coming back from injury, he'd be nuts to play him any more than that in his first game back. Yeah. Just asking for something to go wrong. But with all this hockey coming up, it's very smart. And being up like Ottawa was in that game in the third period afforded them the luxury to kind of roll 4 lines. And
when you're getting contributions, what I like about Jock is I think he's got a better pulse for the bench than DJ does. and he rewards the lines that are going. So the fourth line was going. It's like, why not get him the extra 3-4 minutes here that we don't normally see? Take the pressure off of Tim and Brady, who aren't having their best night. I mean, they're still going to get 19. They're still fine, but they don't need to get to 22 in a 5-1 win. So that's a luxury they haven't had. But I do believe that he's got a better. It's not just we're losing again. Who do I send out? Of course, it's going to be 18-7, 19, whatever it might be, 9. He's got a little bit of a better pulse. So those guys not having their best night, their minutes come down a bit, but you get it from elsewhere. And that's what teams that win have to have consistently. So I hope the fourth line really gets a lot better underneath him. I think it can as time goes here.
Oh, sorry, Yorkie. I thought you were just adding something. That is the interesting part of that fourth line. I mean, they scratched Schmeichel or Schmeichel, depending on how you want to say it. Angus Crookshank, as Yorkie pointed out, not in that game. He was a scratch as well. It's interesting to see how they deploy perhaps the players that are healthy and ready to go. Matthew Joseph is on the strip. He's slated to come off LTIR shortly. We'll see where he fits in.
Yeah, no. What's the earliest Joseph can come back?
I gotta double check. I think it's in a week.
Yeah.
I thought he had a minute still.
Yeah, they still have to make when Pinto now. What's he down to 9 games? It's a 31 game suspension, right?
January 21st is his. First
I
game
think
he can play.
He's really. It's going to take him a little while to get back in the swing of things, but his style of game is sorely missed in this lineup right now. Just that dependable two-way centerman. Like, I made this comment the other day with Dave Poulin coming in. How many times have you heard Pooley over the last couple of years just rave about Shane Pinto as a player? Like, he's played a similar game, dependable. You know, Pinto's way younger. I'm not going to compare him as career-wise, but I'm saying style-wise. That's a job right now that's just waiting for somebody to grab it. Say, I'm going to be this 200-foot center that we need to go against the other team's big guy, because they're all obviously young and that player hasn't developed yet, but I can see a real battle with Ridley, Gregg, and Pinto to be that guy, and it'll be great. Like, both those guys could be that guy, but there's different players, but I'm really anxious to see how Pinto plays once he gets back.
He's going to do exactly what they need him to do, because he's not stepping out of line. They're like, "Hey, you're our 200-foot center." Go, "Yes, sir."
Yes, sir. Can I have another?
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
Matthew Joseph on LTIR December 30th, which means January 23rd. I think he can come off. So we got a few days. We got 3 weeks.
When the team bus comes, Pinto will be there 10 minutes before every bus is scheduled to leave. Not even close to ever being late for a meeting.
Just have your nap on the bus and be ready to go.
So I am excited to see him back in the lineup. I think he's
such a good player.
I think he's really good.
Yeah.
All right. We need some. I got to take care of some business, and Bob, you need to be prepared for your BEI segment. This show is sponsored by Charm Diamond Centers. It's proudly Canadian owned and operated since 1972, with more than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. Super knowledgeable. Not sure what to get? Go see the staff at Charm Diamond Centers. They will help you. Custom ring building delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece Program and an unbeatable pricing policy. Check out their large selection: Canadian lab-grown diamonds, mined diamonds, and don't pay until 2025 with their instant in-store financing, OAC. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. I want to do that Charm Diamond Center read, but no one wants me to sing.
No. Yorkie, I'll get this one too. You just chill. It's 2024, okay? As always, our show brought to you by our friends at BEI, Bonisher Excavating, the heavy civil general contractor in both the public and the private sectors. When planning your next project, consider BEI for your aggregate supply needs, including equipment rentals, haulage, floating, hot mix paving, concrete formwork. You can find them at bonisherexcavating.com or give them a shout at 613-432-1120. BEI, helping to shape Ottawa Valley. And as always, slow down at construction zones.
And by Battlegrounds Axe Throwing. It's safe, it's fun, it's great for a party event or for just something fun to do. Requires no practice. Come to Battlegrounds Axe Throwing Facility, which is located 2615 Lancaster Road near the Science and Tech Museum. They've got coaches there. We'll show you the ropes and show you how to hit the target safely. Fun for the family as well as kids. 12 and up, they can throw with a Guardian. Book your December. Oh, it's in January. I should probably update that. Book your holiday party now, or any other party for that matter. Go see them at battlegrounds.com, BATL grounds.com. They'll take care of you. Guarantee a good time at Battlegrounds Axe Throwing, where your safety is a priority. Just for people in the chat who have mentioned about Matthew Joseph's last game, December 15th, technically he's listed on the NHL official rosters as December 30th of going on LTIR. I know they can retroactively do it. I just don't know the exact day. So I believe he's going on the trip, he's on the trip. I think there's a chance that he might stand to play. I forgot to mention that. Sorry.
Well, do they have enough cap room to put him on?
Well, then we'll figure that out later.
Okay.
And guess what? The new GM gets to figure that out, which is Steve Staios. And gentlemen, to me, it's not a surprise. I know they said they wanted a 3-headed monster and they wanted to have a GM and a president. But Steve Staios was going to make all the decisions anyway. At least that's what it felt like. So there's no shock to me that Steve Staios appointed himself or hired himself as the GM. Are you too surprised?
Go ahead, Bob.
No, no, I'm not. I think it was just kind of written once he was hired. And I think that as soon as he came over, I think the writing was on the wall for everybody else. And it was time for them and Lauer and company to start making the moves. They did it a little slower than fans would have liked there for a minute. But I think this was probably one of the things they had planned all along, was that he would eventually be taking over the team. They just needed one more screw up and they got it. Right. So yeah, there you go.
It's funny how you go back to, well, you and I were talking about this, when you go back and connect the dots. Back when Toronto had, I believe Dave Poulin was there when they had the 3 or 4 assistant general manager system, right, Wally?
Yes. So in 2009, he was hired by the Leafs, I think it was, or 2011. I think it's 2009, and he was director of player development, something to that effect.
Yeah, so director of player development, director of player, whatever the role was. He then, a couple of years later, had a hand in bringing Steve Staios into the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. Steve Staios came in as, I believe, player development, and then got his feet wet in the NHL. So there's a relationship there that goes back many years with Dave Poulin and Steve Staios. And well, you know Pooley really well, a lot better than I do. Just comes across as such a good person, smart guy. And I know everybody's saying, well, he didn't do a great job in Toronto. Well, people learn, and there's different things going on. And that was a different animal back then. Like, I would give Dave Poulin the benefit of the doubt, but the NHL is about who you can trust. When you bring somebody into a role, you want to bring in somebody that you know is going to have your back, that you obviously value their opinion, you think they're smart and do the great job, but it often comes down to relationships. So there's a long relationship there and a level of trust. And that's a big reason they did it. And I really like the move. And I think, with all this talk of the 3-headed monster, at the end of the day, you're going to have 3 competent people there for the time being. And I still think there's going to be more moves coming in various roles with scouting, all those player development. But Ryan Bowness is a young, sharp guy. Pooley is an older, experienced guy. And you got Steve Staios, who's now a younger general manager. So you got a little bit of everything. I like the mix. And Michael Andlauer is going to be a hands-on owner. Like, it's already been shown that way. Like, he's anytime there's news, he's there, he's talking. So I think this current regime sets up for a lot of future success. But at the end of the day, it's always the players, guys. It always falls back to the players, and you can have whoever you want in your front office, but it's got to be the players. And
Yorkie, you got to put the players there.
No, I know you do, but
and you need to have a purpose for doing it, and I think that has lacked in the last few years. I am pissed that Pooley. I'm pissed that Pooley joined the front office because we lost one of our favorite guests. That's the biggest problem I have.
That's exactly what I thought. I said, well, he's going to be bitter. He's very, very good as a guest. Very good.
Yeah. He was a consultant, by the way, during the bid for the Andlauer Group. So it's not shocking. No. They are very familiar with each other, or I guess as a group. So I don't mind it. I think Dave Poulin is an extremely smart hockey guy. Not only, I mean, if you look at his record and what he did on the ice and how good of a player he was, plus being a leader with the captain of the Flyers, all that stuff, as well as being head coach at Notre Dame and running that program for 10 years, then the Leafs and all that stuff is a wealth of knowledge. I just like the way they put him in there. I think it's a really good move to have Dave Poole in there.
Yeah. The other thing too, it's a lot of times when you make these moves and you bring somebody in, depending on, maybe you brought somebody that was working in the Western Conference. Dave Poulin, it's not going to take him long to get familiar with this. Acclimated. Yeah, thank you for that word. Yep. It's not going to take him a while because he's been following the Ottawa Senators, covering the Ottawa Senators for a long time now. So he knows what they have coming up. It's just, it's going to be a nice transition. So it's not going to take him a while to really pull up the sleeves and get to work.
Now, okay, guys, here's the question. We all expected Alfie to take a front office role, and now they continue to add bodies. I don't see a front office role for Alfie. Is he possibly the next head coach of the Ottawa Senators?
No. No. You can't put him in a position that you would have to fire him.
Well, he doesn't. There's no role for him right now in the front office. He was going to be in hockey ops.
He's going to.
But there's too many people.
No, they'll make one.
What does
let him figure out what he wants to do. I'd really like to just see him on the ice in player development role and continue doing that. But I don't see him, and maybe now that he's got a taste of it being on the bench and seeing what the day-to-day life as a coach is, he's rethinking it and wants to be in that role. But just, do you imagine that this team does, like, you insert him next year and this team doesn't take the strides? What do you do? You
got a free year. You know why? Because nobody's going to question. I'm telling you, nobody's going to question Alfie if he's the head coach for a year.
I agree with that. I do agree with Bob on the fact it's very easily you can make up any role you want. You put him in a position like hybrid role, continue to be. I could see him continuing to be an assistant / associate and still being an advisor to Steve Staios and the hockey department. Like it's. I don't know. Once you get back into it, and it's like he's a competitive guy, and it's. I could see him wanting to keep doing part of the staff because it's fun. Like you're in there, your boots on the ground. You get competitive. You're competitive, and you got some skin in the game again. You're right there at ground zero, and the ups and the downs, and it is fun. And probably a big part of him too wants to help turn this around too. It's like, hey, now I'm here. I want to see this through and get these guys winning. But I agree with Bob though. I putting him in as a head coach. You'd never, if things go poorly, you always want him part of your organization. Always. So I like thinking of him as the eye in the sky, somebody that can actually really, really watch a game in the way it's unfolding and then come down between periods and assess and give them a point of view that the coaches don't have from being ice level. I think that's such an important role. So but I don't know I don't know what he wants to do. I just don't see it. I would hate to see them put him in a position where eventually he may have to be the guy that goes, because he can only change the players once, and that's going to happen before that too. Right? There's something coming for that. So
yes,
I think
he's in that spot now.
Yeah. No, one thing for certain, I don't think Jacques Martin is the coach of this team next year. I think this is a temporary solution. Not that I don't think he's capable of it, but I just think where he's at, as far as his knees go and his hips go, like it's being on the ice every day. People don't think it, but it is hard on the body, even when you're just coaching. But then again, if Jacques not doing that, what role does Jacques go into? Like, yeah, be a nice guy to keep around too, right? Like smart guy.
Well, he was senior advisor.
Yeah, there you go. So I do think the hockey ops is going to continue to expand, though, and there'll be more roles created.
Who was the old coach of the Ottawa 67s that coached in
Brian
Kilray?
I know guys that played there that were like, this guy used to stand on the center ice circle and not move for the entire practice. The entire practice was the same every day for the entire year. And a buddy said he used to just stand there, blow the whistle, not say a word. If we were having a bad day, not say a word. If we were having a great day, not say a word. And then as soon as the last drill was over, he was off. So I guess you can do it as long as you want.
Oh, wow. I tell you though, balancing on the blades, because I coached junior for 5 years. Hips were still sore. Because when you stand still, it's actually worse because you're just sitting there and your back's sore and you just feel old and shitty. It's better to wheel around.
Oh, I can see it. I'm 36 and I get off the ice after an hour and a half once a week, and I'm like, nope, never again. And then the week later, I just got a text from Andy Sutton. I'll be there tomorrow.
You're back.
Yeah, we got David Backus in the mix now. The skate's really going. Fish Backus
lives in Nashville too.
Just moved here. Yeah. So
everyone's moving there, right?
Yeah.
By the way, this is way off topic. Bob, did you watch the Nashville New Year's Eve thing on TV?
I'd never even heard of it.
It was awful.
So it's like in New York, but it's in Nashville. It was probably the best of them all.
Oh, no, I was in bed by 9:40.
What?
9:40. I had a chef come
over. Why you didn't
over.
respond to me?
Yeah, that's it. I had a chef come over. We had a nice dinner. Sens on in the background, and then shut down. And I would have been watching it with one eye anyway.
How do you go to sleep so early? You get up early though, eh?
Yeah, I'm up early. Yeah, but it's a process, man, for me to go down. So, yeah.
All right. I need to move on. We got to get a couple things in. One, time for Did You Know? Brought to you by Wendy's. Wendy's is letting you win real food with your fantasy teams this year and Daily Faceoff. Go to dailyfaceoff.com. Just click on the Wendy's Survivor Pool app in the top right corner. For those of you who smoke the competition, Wendy's is rewarding you with weekly prizes that will have you winning despite your lack of team building skills. Download the Wendy's app and score yourself 150 bonus reward points on your first order and grab a sweet victory from the mouth-watering jaws of defeat along with some fresh, never frozen beef. Sign up to play Daily Face-Off to win weekly prizes like the spicy chicken sandwich from Wendy's and the Wendy's app. Wendy's, we keep it fresh. All right, so we rung in the new year. I just thought I'd point out in the 2023 calendar year, Brady Tkachuk led the team in goals with 38. Assists was Tim Stützle with 58 points. Stützle 92 games. Only 4 guys played all 78 games through the calendar year. Stützle, Tkachuk, Batherson, Giroux. And in all, the Sens used 47 players, if you will. That's 40 skaters and 7 goalies during 2023. That's Wendy's. Did you know?
Yeah, actually, I would not have guessed. I thought somebody would have had more goals than Chucky. But I would have guessed Stützle just right across the board.
Yeah,
so I did not know.
Chucky's 38 and 70. It's not bad. That's almost a 40 goal season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be his benchmark.
He's still on pace for it, by the way.
Yeah,
I do have some Chucky notes in our next show that I will bring up. Also, okay, they're playing in Vancouver tonight. We do need to pick our lock of the day. So I almost forgot about it. They are going against the best team in the West right now. They're 13-4-1 at home, the Vancouver Canucks. JT Miller has a 5-game point streak against the Sens. He's got 10 points in his last 5. Goals against the home, by the way, for the Vancouver Canucks, first in the league. This is a tough, tall ask. Yorkie, you're the smartest man in hockey. You start this off.
Well, I picked Ottawa to beat. What was the last bet we did? Was the New Jersey game, right? Oh God.
Yeah.
They actually had a chance early in that game, and then New Jersey there was some stinky goals in that game, but that's besides the point. I'm taking Vancouver. Like, look at the stats here: 13-4 at home, best goals against in the NHL. They're deep too. They're deep up front. Their D are good. Ottawa's they're just not consistent right now. Even in that Buffalo game, they still have things to clean up. They won that game 5-1 or whatever the score was, but a lot of things in their game I'm still not happy with. The turnovers, Bernard Docker threw a couple pizzas or one up the boards, one up the middle of the ice.
So did Jake Sanderson.
Yeah, I know, but Jake Sanderson does so many other good things that you forget about him.
Okay.
I know. I'm taking Vancouver.
Okay.
It's just they're too good.
Bob, how do we convince you to take the Ottawa Senators?
He's gambling.
Yeah, no, I can't gamble that much. I can't do it. I don't know how you argue with everything you said about Vancouver. They're unbelievable at home. They score at will. Ottawa flew cross country. It's a late night for them.
Yes.
It makes everything a little bit harder. What time's the game start Eastern time?
10.
All right. Well, some 9 mine. I'll be in bed. I might watch a period before we get going here. I'll watch the rest of it tomorrow. But I'm taking Van. At what point with my record do we start changing who the smartest man in hockey is?
We can't. It's trademarked.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been trying though.
It looks like, according to the lines sent out today by the Senators, which are all the same lines, by the way, that Anton Forsberg will likely be in goal.
Yeah.
He doesn't start a lot on the road. Again, we'll see how this goes, but I don't know how you pick the worst ranked penalty kill in the league against one of the best power plays. So I will take the Vancouver Canucks.
I'm just looking
question
at this.
Is it close?
I hate the Sens.
How tough, Bob? How tough is this road trip right now?
Yeah.
Seattle's on a heater right now.
Edmonton's won 5 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to sting too. Like right now, you've got 2 goalies you've spent a lot of money on. Not so much on Forsberg, and you're watching what Joey Decord's doing right now.
Yeah.
First goalie with a shutout at a Winter Classic game.
He looks so good, doesn't he?
There's some good saves in that one too. The one on Eichel in particular. But yeah, this is a tough road trip. And you know what is really the hardest part about this road trip is coming back in Buffalo, who you should beat every night right now, is your last of a 5-gamer when you're just ready to get home. This is a tough one. God, if they could manage 500 here, it'd be a hell of a trip.
Who are they beating?
Calgary, Buffalo, and you squeeze a point out of one of the other teams.
Yeah.
That's it. Somebody get us to a shootout somewhere.
It looks like a tall task. I would like to add that.
I don't know if they're going to stay over, but Saturday night at the Edmonton after that game could be a good one for the boys.
Oh yeah.
But quick flight to Calgary though. You get on. What time is that Calgary? That Edmonton game? I'm trying to see. Is that a normal time? Yeah. You get on the flight after Edmonton. You're in Calgary out by 12:30 probably.
Unless you do the Randy Carlyle. The stairs aren't here for the plane. We're like, okay.
He makes the plane go late on purpose.
We used to sit on the tarmac for 40 minutes on each side of it. We're like, the guys would come on and be like, well, the stairs aren't here. And Randy'd be like, it's not my fault. He said, okay, Randy.
He did it on purpose.
You're actually just extending the night because now we're going to hang out in somebody's room. So like,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Never would have thought of that.
I'd
like to point out. Yeah.
Totally off topic. How many picks does Ottawa have this year in the first round? Just one?
First round?
Yeah, just one.
Well, are they going to lose their pick? Not allowed to bring that up, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, they got the trade they did in the DeBrincat trade there, because they're getting a pick. They're getting a pick from was either Boston's gets to choose when the pick is or something like that. But they could potentially be. My point is they could potentially be a lottery team, right?
Yes, correct.
Yes, that would be as where they are right now. That'd be a handy pick to have coming up this year at the draft. I know people don't want to hear that, but it would be good for.
Let's hold off.
Yeah, I was like this. Yeah, you're gonna piss
We're
somebody
not starting
off
the
here.
new year with the tankathon, are we?
They're in last place.
They have 2 picks.
They're actively trying and they're still in last place. So let's hold off to lottery stuff for yet.
So the Detroit pick is in the event that the Bruins 2020. It's the Bruins 2024 pick, apparently first round. In the event that the Bruins selection is a top 10 pick, Boston can retain it and transfer it. But I would suspect that Boston's going to do okay and not be a lottery top 10 pick.
Yeah, good one there. But I'm just saying, like now that you've got everything's kind of getting set, you've got Dave Poulin in, Steve Stais is in, you got Bonus here. So this is going to be this team's first draft together. Time to start, and like it's time to build something of what's going to be the next generation of players coming in here. And I know people don't want to hear it, but a lottery pick would be good.
Yes, but we'll save that for another day. So keep your off topic till another day. As we leave, so we're talking about the team heading out on the road, and I noticed some pictures from the airport because it's 11 days, 5 days. There's Angus Crookshank. He's got like an overnight bag. He's not messing around. He's like, I'm prepared. But then there's Thomas Chabot. I'm just hoping that Shabby is taking some other player's gear, luggage to the plane, because he's got like 4 bags. Oh. And then you got Tim Stützle and Jacob Chychrun. They're leaving for a month, but Claude Giroux's got his 1 bag, like a seasoned veteran. Who, gentlemen, did you travel with that always packed like they were moving out?
Moving out.
Erik Karlsson.
Carl. Yeah, I was going to say Carl. The guys that cared about the fashion. And then the longer you're in the league, you're like, I'm going to wear this suit 3 times with 3 different shirts. Who cares? And then I also played with George Peros, who shopped at Nordstrom or wherever it might be and would always get the boxed shirt and tie combo and just pull one out of the box. Like, no thought into it. And then he would just have enough underwear and stuff for the trip to get by. So it's just, I think the longer you've been in the league, the less you care about that kind of stuff. And you're like, oh, it's a couple dinners. I need 2 pairs of jeans, 2 t-shirts, and I'm good to go. That's it.
I played this guy in the minors. This guy is a beauty. He was 30 years old at the time. His name was Ken Quinney. And he used to brag because we'd go for a 3-nighter or 2-nighter on the weekend. We'd go Friday, Saturday on the bus. The guy all he would do is put his toothbrush in his suit pocket. That's all he brought. Not even a shaving kit. He goes, I got my toothbrush, boys, right in the suit pocket. And he was good for the weekend.
Oh, that's pushing it.
So funny you mentioned him. I grew up watching him play in Fredericton.
Ken Quinney?
For the Fredericton Express.
Wow, this guy, Ken Quinney, nobody knows what the hell this guy is, but he only referred to himself on the third person. He only referred to himself as the Quinn dog. And you talk to me, he's like, Quinn Dog's going to do this. Quinn Dog can't wait to go out tonight. Quinn Dog only brings the toothbrush for the trip. And that's like, he never spoke normally, only in the third person. Played for the Quebec Nordiques too, Wally. He had a little cup of coffee with the Quebec Nordiques.
So, yeah, because Fredericton was the Nordiques farm team, and then he played in Halifax when they moved the farm team. And then he was a 2-time 30-goal scorer with the Adirondack Red Wings when you were there. Yeah. And then played for the Las Vegas Thunder, and then finished with the Frankfurt Lions. Played 59 NHL games.
Quinn Dog.
So were either one of you at all, like, how long did it take you to realize what you're supposed to pack?
I would be considered a very light packer, but once I saw one other person do it when I was young, I realized the same thing. If you had a 3 or 4 game road trip, it wasn't worth bringing a second suit because a lot of times you would have a day off. You're like, I'll iron it that day, whatever. So I would bring 3 shirts, 2 ties, and a suit with a pair of sneakers, jeans, whatever. And that was it. So I was always just slightly more than a duffel bag. I always had a roll-on, carry-on, no matter if that thing was a week or it was a day and a half. The same size, no matter what.
This is what we used to talk about. The actual time you actually have your suit on your body in the NHL is like you put it on to go to the rink. As soon as you get to the rink, the suit comes off. After the game, you put the suit on, you go back to the hotel. You probably wear your suit for maybe a half an hour out of the day when it comes down to it. Get on the plane, take your suit off because you get a t-shirt on. Like hey Bob, I was 1 suit and 2 dress shirts for if I was going on a road trip. But it's I wonder if the NHL will get to the point where you're like the other sports where you can just wear whatever you want to the game.
I like it, but I don't know. Some teams already do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some teams already do. When you see them posting pregame stuff, guys will be walking in not in suit and tie anymore. It's a little different.
Yeah.
But I remember when I think it was Brian Murray that came to talk to us, and he's like, "You guys look like bums walking in because when you're playing a home game, you're only on camera. You get in your car, you walk into the rink, you're on camera for the length of that hallway, and sometimes you're not even on camera. They would just set them up, and you're like, those things aren't on. But so I wore Lululemon pants with a pair of dress shoes, a t-shirt, and then I would bundle up the heavy coat, never do the hair with a beanie, and then put a scarf on, so I didn't have to wear a tie. I was like, a scarf takes 2 seconds. So, and every guy did the same thing. And then it was Andy who got us in trouble because he's like, yeah, I don't care. He would just walk in with his tie on, no tie on, with his overcoat. I'm like, at least hide it. Give us a chance.
That's funny for Andy. I was really bad at the beginning. If we were going for 7 days, I had 7 suits packed and 7 shirts.
Yeah,
it took me a long time to figure out I can pack 2 suits and 5 shirts and be gone for a week and carry on.
Yep.
Yeah. I was
None of it.
really bad for a while.
Yeah. I was never bad. I was never. And that's, what we talked about one time, Cody Goluboff, when I was coming back, he was a scratch that last year with Mikhail Bodker. And he came into the locker room, and I was already there getting treatment. And he said, I want to clock it. I've never done this. How many times on a game day do you get changed, Yorkie?
Morning skate. So you get up in the morning. You get up, home, morning skate, come back.
Twice at morning skate.
Yeah. And twice again for the game. And then you go home and you usually change out of your suit and go put something else on. Yeah.
So we clocked it one time because a lot of guys now wear a certain set for on the ice and then come off, and you're like, now I got to wind down. I'm in the gym. I'm in this or whatever.
Yes.
Oh, he said, I think it was 9 times. He's like, so he's like, I'm sick of being a healthy scratch because I'm sick of changing.
Yeah.
So, and then you go work out and you don't want to sit in your sweat. So you're like, now I got to wait for lunch with the guys. So I'm going to sit here in something else. So guys, you go through 3 sets just for pregame skate.
These are real problems we're talking about here.
These are the things I want to get to the bottom of on this show.
I used to get like the amount of times you tie your skates, when you get those little things on the outsides of your pinky finger from just the grinding, your laces are, by February, your fingers are so raw from tying those skates over and over and over again. Real world problems we're talking about here.
That's it.
Well, we'll deal with more world problems tomorrow when we're back. Although I'm not sure, Bobby, you're aware that we have a 3 p.m. show tomorrow?
I was not, but I will be there.
So until then, we'll bring up some Brady notes about his penalty minutes. I have to, but we'll also discuss today's game against the Vancouver Canucks. So until tomorrow, gentlemen, enjoy. Say hi to all the guys at the skate. Take some video. Get someone. I want video of you playing.
Yes.
There's nobody there. It's just the guys on the ice. So nobody, we don't bring our phones on the ice.
Feel like a GoPro. No. Put a GoPro on.
Should I get a GoPro? Now I got to deal with a shutdown center in Bacchus tomorrow. It's his first time out. Come on.
Go to Costco and get a GoPro.
I'll tell you what, though, the chat's blowing up because everybody's like, they must have ate and drank over the course of the holidays because everybody's on the first one back.
Oh boy.
They'll be back for
just like
2
the
weeks.
gym.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. See you tomorrow. Enjoy your day. Thanks for watching, everybody.
See you later.
Don't forget, like and subscribe if you have time.
See you guys.
See you guys.